Most of you have heard the expression of burning paint or burning an edge, and this is where the use of a rotary buffer comes in. The rotary buffer is what's called the step-headed red child of the industry. But just like guns, it's not the guns that kill. I'm pretty certain it's the actual bullet that enters the body that does the killing, but point is there's the forever debate. Do guns kill or the person behind the gun? So does the rotary buffer burn paint, or is it the lack of experience and skills of the person using the rotary buffer? So many of you heard about the horror stories of swirl marks, holograms, buffer trails, burnt edges, burning through the clear coat, endless ways to talk about it. So I'm working on this Porsche. I'm doing some paint correction on it, but I am coming in after the fact. And what I mean by that is that the body shop, because of their who knows what, body shops are working within many constraints themselves. You've got the end customer, the car owner. You've got the insurance company that they're typically trying to deal with. You've got the owners of the body shop, and then you have the food chain all the way down to the actual guy behind the buffer. So the owner of the company may think he knows what's going on down there, when in fact he really doesn't, because he's not in the guy's head. He doesn't know how tired or worn out or lacking in discipline the guy has. So he's just gonna say like, oh yeah, we know what we're doing. And that happens in any industry. The point is burning paint is more about just burning the edges, because it's the character lines, the edges, the high spots of any car, all the nuances that becomes a problem. So even this fender bulge here on this Porsche, right here at any point, because the buffer pad as a rule is going to be flat, so based on how the pad is configured or placed onto this panel will become that high point. So even something as subtle of a curve as that is still a danger zone. So most of you will be able to recognize a burnt edge, but what happens when you polish through the clear coat, because that's what I have to explain to my customers, is on two-stage paint you have the color or the base coat. Yes, there's layers below it, which is rust protection, whatever, primer. But I'm talking about the color itself is the first stage, hence two-stage paint. In the old school days, like 30 years ago, they just had what's called single-stage paint, meaning the color coat is the top coat. And then you could dissect, well, how many layers of paint did they apply? Well, this is a 30 layer or 30 coat lacquer finish, or enamel, whatever. Base coat, color coat, top coat, or second stage is a clear coat. Imagine clear coat is like window tinting on your car window, except there's no tint to it. Now, yes, they can have clear coats, because I know someone out there is gonna dissect everything I say. Yes, you can tint the clears, but as a rule, they are clear, meaning there's no pigment, there's no color to them. The clear coat is there for two specific reasons: to filter out the UV protection of the sun, to protect the color coat, and to enhance the appearance of the color coat itself. For example, if you're a woman and you're watching this, which is very unlikely, but let's say you are, when they do your nails, they do the color coat, and then they typically will top it with a clear top coat that's clear, that it actually enhances the shine. Now, if you're a guy and let's say you're a woodworker, you stain the wood and then maybe you put some varnish or a urethane varnish of some kind over it to enhance it and to make it shine. That's the equivalent of a clear coat on top of the color coat, hence two-stage. First stage is color, second stage is clear. So what happens is if you polish through the clear coat and you wear it down to the point where now you have just entered into the layer of the color coat, the problem is, aside from the fact that you have no more UV protection on that car in that spot, is that it will change the color of the base coat. I don't care what color it is, it's gonna change the appearance of it. So I wanna show you that. Now, I did not do this. This is where the body shop, they suck. And I know if you're a body shop or you're a worker bee at a body shop, you're gonna say, well, we don't suck, Darren, we're really, really good. It's like, okay, then you're the exception to the rule. Here, I'll see if I can capture it. Right, and by the way, this is not an invitation to scrutinize the paint work of this, and by paint work, I mean the paint correction. All kinds of nuances and bad moments are gonna appear in this. So here we have two things going on. We've got a scratch that is too deep to wet sand and buff it away entirely. But the body shop, they probably saw that scratch, and now I'm just guessing based on my years of experience, the guy behind the buffer thought, oh, there's a scratch. Let me sit here and tool on it with the buffer and I can make it disappear or make it look better. But what he didn't realize is that you see this shadow, like right around there? That is, and I'll capture it in different lighting to see where it shows up best. So that little hazy area, approximately this big, is where Johnny Buffer burned through the clear coat. Because the glare is so intense, I'm just moving this around in hopes that it captures in the right lighting. I think right there it's capturing it very well. Right there. So that's what a burned panel looks like when you've gone through the clear coat. Now with that said, I don't know if this will capture it, but the body shop also burnt this line. It's hard to tell because it looks like in the video this is just one smooth panel. There's actually a little indent here, and there's a high point here, a character line. So once again, there's a scratch that's too deep to wet sand or polish away. So the guy at the buffer, I don't know if that was his intent or if this is accidental, but he burned through this edge right there. You can see, hopefully, subtly, that it looks whitish. That's because he burned through both the color, or I'm sorry, the clear and the color coat. And now he's starting to go through the primer coat. So in 10,000 words or less, because I know how so many of you love or Darren like blah, blah, blah. But that's the nature of any industry. If you want to gain expertise and mastery over it, you've got to dig in and you've got to understand the nuances. So this is just simply to highlight or illustrate what it looks like when you burn through a flat panel or a flatter panel, and it changes the appearance of the color underneath. Over and out.